Kenny started with $10,000 and is now doing nearly $1 million a month in sales, selling lights for Lego.
Within 6 months, I was making like more than double what I was making in my day job.
That's amazing. This is why the alpha return lives in business.
It was just the power of basically social media. Holy like I was very private when it came to being on camera for like my brick. Now seeing me on socials and going, oh wow, Lego's cool.
Ooh. Listening to you, I feel like go here buy some Lego. So your advice is?
Create content, as much content as I can about... We went into Black Friday last year, like all guns blazing, like we did just shy of 5 mil.
Whoa. How much of that came from your email list and how much of that came from paid traffic?
That's probably like...
Your advice to a young person today who's got a product like this to launch on social, what exactly would you do?
I would basically...
What is up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Unemployable. We have just wrapped it and it is a killer. You are going to love this podcast. Today we have Kenny from lightmybricks.com.au. This guy is epic. It is the incredible tale of how he started with like virtually no money, scaled it now to about $1 million a month and soon to be $2 million a month. We hear the incredible bootstrap story of how he basically found this little niche of selling lights for Lego and is blowing up all over the world. He tells this one story that sort of just popped out of nowhere. He goes, oh yeah, by the way, we did like $5 million in sales in 2 weeks. And we're like, wait, what? So in this episode, we go into what happened there, how it's completely replicable. And all of us were sitting here going, oh my God, this is so powerful. I'm so passionate about this story. Everybody in the studio is pumped right now. He brought the fire. He brought his A game. You're going to love it. Stick around till the very end because there's some absolute gold right at the end of this podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy it. Remember, drop a comment now. Let Kenny know what you think of this stuff. Subscribe if you don't subscribe. That's how we grow and get more great guests like Kenny. Enjoy it. I know you will. Here's a fun fact about our show. We put a ton of effort into making these podcasts for you. The one thing that we would love for you to do if you actually get value out of the pod is just hit that subscribe button. By doing that, it helps us get better guests on the show because they can see that we have a bigger audience. So if you're enjoying the content, just hit the subscribe button below and then throughout the podcast, drop a comment so that we know that we're hitting the mark or how we can improve. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the episode. What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Unemployable, and today is going to be fun. We have with us Kenny, who owns an awesome company called Light My Bricks. You can see his website at lightmybricks.com.au. This has got to be one of the most interesting, cool niches of a product that we have had on for a long time. Welcome to the pod. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for having me. Really excited to be here. I mean, we flew up from Melbourne just for this, and we're like, this has all been worth it. Just coming into this studio and just seeing beautiful sunrise, beautiful weather. Yeah, excited to be here.
How does it feel coming into the pod? Because I know you watch the pod, but you get here, it's a bit different, isn't it?
No, you know what? I think it's a lot more different in a lot of other cases because when you go to visit studios, sometimes it is like that. But I think coming in here, it's like pretty impressive. You see the whole setup, it looks good. You know, I do like how it's like more hidden from the outside. You have no idea what's inside. I love the secrecy of that. But it's impressive. I really like it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's good to be here. Good to have your guy here, Harry, who's doing some behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to dive into this. It's going to be an awesome story. Mark, how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
Mate, I'm doing well. Back after a little bit of a hiatus. So It's good to be back too. Flew up from Melbourne on Monday.
You're from Melbourne as well?
Yeah,
awesome.
But we moved here permanently, so we're here for good now.
Yeah. We bought a house at Byron Bay.
Yeah. We're on the bright side. So
right next to Zac Efron.
Everyone keeps saying, like, did you want to live next door to the Hemsworths?
Yeah. Matt Damon he's got a place here as well, apparently. Yeah.
Well, when I see them, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
You're a bit like Zac Efron with a mo.
Yeah. It's gotten thicker.
Eric, what's going on, buddy? You got no James today? You must feel sort of...
I'm good. I'm just trying to get over this cough, so you guys are going to have to bear with me today. But excited to have you on. Yeah, this is a really cool business. I was just at the Lego store in Sydney.
Yeah.
Probably about 3
Pitt
weeks
Street
ago
one.
with the girls, and just the Sydney Harbour Bridge that they've built, and the actual Opera House all out of Lego. I'm just like, this blows me away.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm fond of that business and what Lego has created over the years. It's just a monster.
Definitely the monster.
So amazing to see what you've done, and basically in collaboration with them almost.
Yeah, that's it.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into this. Before we do, I just want to, normally I do a sponsor shout out, but I'm not going to do a sponsor shout out. I'm actually going to let everybody know here that pre-registration for our 2-day event, the first Unemployable Summit that we've ever done, is happening on October 19 and 20 at the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre. We have some incredible speakers coming to this event. There are only 300 tickets. So if you want to be notified first, go to unemployable.com.au/events and put down your name and email. There's no credit card, nothing required. Just put your name on the early bird invite list, and we're going to release the tickets there first. We do anticipate that they're going to go quickly. So get over there, unemployable.com.au/events, put your name and email in, and we will get you on the list. And the tickets will be out within 4 weeks. So that's not too far away. And it's going to be a rock star event. We can't wait. So with that being said, Kenny, Light My Bricks.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, what is Light My Bricks? How would you explain it to somebody who's never heard of Light My Bricks before?
You basically think about Lego and buying Lego. So, for example, a Lego Ford Mustang, you buy it, you build it. You buy Light My Bricks to essentially retrofit lighting, LED lights, small componentry into that model to elevate that whole display and bring it to life.
Yeah, insane. Yeah. So we might just throw it up on the screen here and just have a quick look for our YouTube viewers so you can actually see what we're talking about. Here it is here. You can imagine the impact that lighting has on these creations. It really, it's kind of like when you finish a jigsaw puzzle, it gives you that feeling of put the last piece in and it just brings it to life.
That's it.
Everything from, Star Wars stuff, Lamborghinis, houses.
It's such an amazing idea, but I just never would have thought to add LEDs to my Lego. Where did you come up with this idea?
Well, when I was a kid, all of us when we were kids, we grew up playing with, Lego or building little houses and all that kind of thing. But I've always been fascinated with like putting like a little torch inside the building and like turning off all your lights in the room, and you like kind of pretend that like it's on and there's like imaginary people in it. And so I've always been fascinated with like lights in these kind of buildings. And then, when you go to like a Lego Discovery Center or Legoland, every model is lit up. And you're like, why can't you do that as a consumer? And so that's how the idea came about, because I started getting really into Lego. Obviously, they call it the dark ages. So you grow up and you forget about Lego, because Lego is all about, once you were a kid. But when you have kids, and that's what I did, I got married, had kids, and started buying Lego for them, you realize how fucking cool this is. Do you know what I mean? Like, you realize how good it is. And then that's when I went down the rabbit hole of getting into these bigger models, like your Star Wars stuff, your buildings, and starting collecting stuff. And I was like, how do you make it better? Like, you have that kind of pride of collecting and displaying something. And it's just like, I think, because it's like you've got light fixtures, you've got lampposts, you've got headlights, taillights. Like, why? How much better would it look with lights in it? And that's how that whole idea kind of came about.
And this is a serious business. So I was reading online that you did $10.9 million in sales last year, which is basically $1 million a month selling lights for Lego. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is. I think a lot of people, even when I tell them about this idea, they still can't grasp the concept of it, because they immediately think, oh, okay, he's in a Lego business, so it must be just like selling Lego to friends or selling in marketplaces. They have no idea of the market there is, because also another thing is people are probably unaware of the Lego direction these days, especially catered more towards adult consumers. Because just like me, like we've gone down this rabbit hole of finding this passion for collecting. It's all about collectibles now. Is it? And you've seen the Lego take a huge change in direction. For example, like you go to a Lego store, you would once see bright colored boxes, blue, pink, all that kind of thing. You notice if you go to a Lego store now, it's covered in black boxes that say 18 plus on it. Wow. And that 18 plus used to be an indication of like difficulty level, and like, you know, you see 6 plus, 8 plus, and you think, oh, okay, my kid's 6, so that will be appropriate for them. Oh, 18 plus, it's probably too hard for kids. Nah, that's all bullshit. I reckon it's almost like a marketing thing to make adults feel good about buying toys again.
And it's probably, I think, partly feeding into mental health as well.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
yeah.
Because that's a big thing now. And adult jigsaws, like my wife and I do jigsaw puzzles, and it's a chance to connect and engage the brain.
Yeah.
And I think Lego could actually sort of feed into that. I'm sure therapists are probably recommending.
I love building Lego just for that therapeutic kind of
Get you away from your
experience.
devices.
Exactly.
It gets you with your partner solving problems.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Are you a Lego builder, Eric?
I'm not. I never really have been, to be honest with you, but I bought plenty of Lego for the kids. As gifts.
Yeah.
I just love the business model and what they've created, but I can see what you're saying in regards to targeting adults. For sure.
But adults are even if they were never into building Lego, they discovered it because of the models that they did. Lego releasing like $1,000 plus sets now, like massive Eiffel Towers, big supercars. You know, like if people are, let's say, a supercar fan, they'll actually start getting into Lego because
limited in numbers.
Oh well, yes, because of the hype. Because now there's I don't know if it's scarcity or there's just an increase in just popularity. But like we're talking like every month, Lego will release something on the first day of the month, and usually what we find is there's a lot of hype. Let's say like the latest Lamborghini that's coming out, there'll be a lot of hype on that, and then let's say June 1st drops. Within the end of that weekend that it drops, they're all sold out, and people are buying. You know what I mean? That creates that scarcity, and it makes people get all hyped about it. And
what a business.
When I don't know about everyone else, but when I was growing up, Lego was blocks, and I feel like today Lego's done a really, really good job of becoming art.
Yeah,
and
it's everything.
There's that, you said, like as you get older, you get back into it. There's that sentimental value with Lego as well, because you know they'll do a Yoda, or they'll do a Millennium Falcon, or they'll do an Eiffel Tower, and so it's really become like an art form, hasn't it?
And nostalgia is a huge thing too. You know, a lot of us who grew up in the 80s or 90s, we were into like the 1989 Batmans and like Ghostbusters, Back to the Future. They're releasing sets now on Back to the Future, on, you know.
It's targeting us.
Exactly, yeah.
They're not targeting the young kid that doesn't know, you know, what Back to the Future is.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was fantastic. Like I was looking at your website, and usually when you go to an e-commerce website, there's, you know, 50 to 100 sellers, but there's 3 or 4 that have all the reviews, and you're like, oh, that's their business, those 3 products. But the depth of reviews on all your sets was just so broad.
Yeah. And I think that's why we've seen a lot of success, because we've captured the adult consumers. So a lot of people, when they hear about the business, they think, oh, my kids would love it. Oh, I've got niece or nephews, they would love this business. But it's actually not the kids that are into it, it's the adults. Because adults are the ones who do have the money to buy. And not just that, our product is a display product. It's not like you build it into the Lego model and then you break it apart and you know what I mean? And the kids, that's what they love to do. They like to build and they pull apart and build again. Whereas adults will just build, display, and just have it up there as their kind of like trophy, or their kind of...
So go straight to the trophy.
Yeah. Check out my collection kind of thing. Yeah, that's
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I want to ask so many questions about this business, right? There's so many questions that jump to mind. But I guess the first question is, when did you have this epiphany, and like what was the first step that you took? Because I guess that's where most entrepreneurs have an idea, like what did you do first when you thought, I want to light up my house?
Yeah.
So did you go to Alibaba? What did you do? Did you start searching the web? How did you source what you wanted?
It all started actually. I went down this rabbit hole of buying Lego, getting into it, spending, we're talking like thousands of dollars on Lego. And at the time I was married, I had 2 young kids, single income, mortgage, all that kind of thing. And here I go spending thousands of dollars on Lego. And of course that will prompt these heated discussions with the partner on your excessive Lego spend. And my mind was purely going, because I've always wanted to do something, right? I've always been wanting something in my life that's not your standard 9 to 5. You know, I've wanted to either get out, my background's been, you know, in music and in creating like media and all that kind of stuff. And then you know, you have that kind of thing where your mind will basically say, hey, it's time to grow up. It's time to get serious and have a serious job because you've got responsibilities and all that kind of thing, right? And so I've always deep down wanted something different. And then when I was going down this rabbit hole, I was so passionate about this Lego, all the stuff with display, building and creating something that I was like, this is my passion project. But not just that, I was involved in like communities like you know, Facebook groups and all that kind of thing. And they're all the same, right? I'm not the only one who's spending this amount of money on Lego. We're all in there. We're all talking about, check out how cool the collection is, check out all this. So that was how I was able to, I guess, identify that there was a business opportunity. But because of this pure passion for collection and building and almost like wanting to share with others, that's what drove me to go, okay, this is me giving myself permission to, I guess, you know, break out of this kind of stereotypical box that I was subconsciously putting myself into in terms of like having a steady job, having, you know what I mean, all these responsibilities. So that's what triggered me and that's what pushed me to basically go, all right, this is something that I want to make a business out of. And I guess the thought of getting Lego as a tax write-off, that was what really drove me. I was like, imagine having to buy Lego as a business.
That's how you got it across the line.
That's how I got that's it. That's how I won that argument, basically. And then so from there, I just went on the internet to find lighting and for Lego, and there wasn't anything out there. That's basically it. There were like certain companies out there who were selling just like LEDs and wires that you had to like solder together. But I'm like, I'm not an electronics guy. I don't know any of that shit. I'm not going to get out a soldering line and do that kind of stuff. I go, there has to be a way, because I love the Lego experience so much. I love like, you know, opening a box and following instructions and creating something. That's what I wanted to create as an experience for other people that didn't have electronics experience, because I was that customer. I was that guy that didn't know what to do. So that's when I was like, surely there could be small electronic components that you could get that would be able to fit underneath bricks. And because there's a lot of, like I said, at the time, there were other companies that were selling lights, but they were like thick ass cables that you had to almost build around it. So you don't want to, if you've got a Ford Mustang, and I'll use that as an example, you don't want to have to alter the front or the back just to fit thick cables in there. You want to basically have the model and be able to put a cool lighting product in it just to look like you're just turning it on. So that's the whole idea of behind it. And so from there, I basically I had a colleague of mine who knew the Chinese market, like he knew the Alibabas, the Taobaos. I didn't know any of that stuff, right? And I was like, hey, help me find some small electronic components. And that's how it all started. He helped me basically find a supplier that would make small componentry. And from there, I was like, okay, is there a way we could make it so it's a modular system that you can actually build and it's flexible. You could like plug and play, you can add more lights, you can just basically build your own circuit. That's how the whole thing came about. So yeah, that's how it started. And then from there, it was all about documenting and creating these instructions, because at the end of the day, it's just like Lego. Like Lego, if you strip back the box, you strip back the instructions and all the marketing, they're all just different bricks, right? You wouldn't know what the hell to do with them. But it's the same thing with our components. They're all raw, I guess, individual components that you get instructions on how to build it into the Lego.
Did you have to buy the Lego sets and then design them specifically?
Yeah.
So every lighting set that you've created, you've bought the set, engineered it, and created that set.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure you would have done that on your own start, but do you still do that?
I don't do that now, but that's what we still do though. We're literally buying Lego sets all the time to create a product for it.
Do you sell the lighting kit for the product?
Yes.
So like the Lambo comes out, there's the Lambo lighting kit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's sort of, you just got a sort of replica catalog to Lego.
That's it.
The lighting kit for the, okay.
Yeah. But then we've also got another segment of customers who once they know what to do, they then go and buy individual components, and then they create their own Lego lighting, and then they basically create a product, because use our lighting to create their own lighting. Because once you know
how very Lego of you.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What percentage split between your sets versus your custom lighting would
Yeah,
sales
look,
be?
majority of it is the custom sets, because people want. They don't, like I said, they're like, they've got the Batmobile at home, and they're like, how do I do that? And so they want to buy the like for like kit, and then get that whole experience to be able to put it into their set.
Can I? So I want to bring you back. How many years ago was this?
This was 2016, so eight years ago.
What were you doing 8 years ago?
So my background is in IT. So I was managing a team of techies. We would go around and just fix computers, aka tell people to turn off and turn back on their computer.
Yeah. And when you started the business, and I know Adam's probably going to dig into this a little bit more.
Yeah.
How much money did you have to invest into this up front, right?
10
Like
grand.
obviously $10,000.
Yeah,
So
10 grand was, and that's purely just to buy stock, right?
Yeah.
I hear this all the time when you read people that go, for as little as $100, $500, you can start any business. I think for me, it was all about buying the stock to be able to create the product and be able to test it. So that's how it all started. But aside from that, we never, the first 3 years, we never borrowed any money. It was all just like my own money that I just put in. I was lucky enough because when my granddad passed, he passed down some money, and with that money, I basically did this. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, how cool. And how much have you invested so far into your business?
In my,
just over your own savings. Have you raised funding or
No,
no external funding?
No. Yeah. So now we have like trade finance kind of products to help us fund and just for cash flow.
Yes.
But we've never actually had to borrow money to do stuff. You know what I mean? We've been lucky enough that we've always been positive in terms.
So for trade finance, just while we're here, and I don't want to get stuck on this detail too early, but essentially, just for the listener who doesn't know what trade finance is, how does Light My Bricks use trade finance? Like, what is it?
Yeah, because as we've gone, as we scaled, the more money you make in revenue, the more money you're spending in order to grow. So trade finance basically helps us in terms of cash flow. You know, you get money coming in, you have to have money going out. But when you're buying stock, you're spending a lot of that money. It's more money going out than money coming in at that one time. So the trade finance basically is like a loan that actually we use to pay suppliers.
Do you
and then
use
you
like Scottish Pacific or NAB or something? Or
NAB. Yeah.
NAB we found have been really good.
Yeah.
So for people listening, I know the answers to these questions, but I'm asking again because there's a lot of young entrepreneurs that don't understand the concept that if you're growing really quickly, you can run out of cash. And they're like, hang on, what?
Yeah.
And it's because your business is growing. So you've just sold out, let's say 1,000 units, and now you need to buy 2,000. So now you've got a cash flow problem because you need to buy more to grow.
Yeah.
And so all of your profit, if your profit's only 30% net or whatever it is, and you need to buy twice as much stock, you're actually behind on the next order. And that's what we're talking about. And so when you go to NAB, or we use NAB as well, they're, I think, the best of the big four in this space, and they're only good if you've got inventory in Australia. They will lend you the money for 6 months, and then you can spend the money, and then you can pay it back 6 months later, in which time you've sold those products that they lent you. And we use that in our e-commerce as well.
And that's what a lot of, I guess, entrepreneurs aren't aware of, the whole cash flow issue. And that's something that I had to experience, and that really hit you hard. And
So you bootstrap this, and I just want to make this point for listeners. This is why the alpha return lives in business. Kenny started with $10,000, and it's now doing nearly $1 million a month in sales. And I imagine what your margins are. Do you disclose that or not?
No, I don't. We don't.
Don't disclose margins. But let's say an average e-commerce business runs at, say, a good one about 20%. You know. So let's say it's somewhere in that ballpark. You can do the math on that listening at home for a $10,000 start. And some money that he got from his granddad, he's scaled this into $1 million a month in revenue. And you can make your own estimations about net margin, but that's amazing. And that's why having a great business is the fast track to creating wealth.
How much were you paying yourself? So 8 years ago, you started, you're doing IT. Were you doing this as a side gig for a little while you're still working full time?
Yeah, so I was doing both. You did the 9 to 5 where you're doing your IT while I was doing my IT stuff, but as soon as I got home, it was like spend time with the kids, do the whole dinner thing, all that kind of thing. And once they're down, it's like straight into working on the business. On the weekends, everything. It was just like nonstop.
How long was that journey until you actually said, you know what?
Full time into it? Well, there was a complication. I wanted to go, I was all in, like I wanted to basically go full time into it, but there was complications with, we were building a house, and then you know how when you've got, you sign a contract and the banks are like, we're only going to give you the money based on this income. Even though I was making more money doing like my bricks, it was too fresh. It was too new.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So I had to work with accountants to basically get me over the line. So that would have taken a good a year and a half probably of doing the whole juggling both before I was able to go full time into the business.
Yes, full time.
So just on that, like you said, you were ready to go full time. How quick were you able to scale it to your first $1 million, for example?
Within 6 months, I was making like more than double what I was making in my day job. It was just the power of basically social media and me basically getting very deep into the community and like posting all my content, showing people, you know, connecting with people, networking, talking to people online and spreading that message through like, you know, hashtags and all that kind of stuff back then. And that was what got a lot of eyeballs onto it.
Can we get granular and pull on that thread for a minute? Because that's the stuff, right?
Yeah.
For when if Kenny in 2016 was listening to this, he'd be going, I've got this rock star idea in a niche that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
What exactly do you do? So you were in, is it Facebook groups back then?
Yeah, Facebook or Instagram. Oh, yeah, there was a lot of
You follow
Facebook online.
Instagrammers?
Yeah. So back then, Instagram was new. It wasn't all so much about like creating viral content back then. It was all about just like imagery, you know what I mean, and videos and all that kind of thing. But if I was to basically tell anyone now, if you're starting a business, the number one thing is social media and spreading that message as much as possible. Because these days we have the power to basically reach everybody on their devices, on their phones. It's the fastest way to promote something, I believe. And not just that, I believe there's more weight when it comes from the founder, like as in you get in front of the camera, you share that message, because people will then relate to people. It's one thing for people to see a cool product, but when it comes from the founder and they see the passion, they hear the story, that's what kind of resonates with people. That's what will get people to buy your product.
Dane Walker in Sydney.
Dane Walker.
Shout out to Dane and our good friend Matt Purcell. You probably know as well.
Yeah.
And Matt makes me laugh. God,
Yeah.
he's a funny bugger.
Mate, honestly.
Asian hardware.
I haven't
Australian
met
software.
Matt. I mean, Dane was like, we can talk about Dane, but Dane was the one who basically, I went to an entrepreneur summit.
One Life probably.
One
That's
Life Summit
where I met him.
to hear Simon, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know Dane at the time.
Yeah.
But I walked away going, holy shit, I have not, like I was very private. Like this was back in September or August, September last year. Up until that point, I was very private in terms of social media. When it came to like people being on camera for like my bricks, I was like, nah, not me. We'll get other people to do it. But after hearing him speak, I went home that night going, I need to get on this.
I was the same thing. I was at the same event in the Gold Coast. I heard Dane talk and I realized I'd missed the boat, and I built my personal brand. My Instagram at the time, it was 22,000. Now I'm at 53.
Yeah.
Just from that one talk from Dane, and what he talked about.
Was that around the same time as well?
So it was the same
There
time.
you go.
And Matt Purcell spoke as well. You got to meet Matt.
Yeah.
You will love him.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
And but anyway, they talked about the power of that
personal brand
with your brand. And I noticed when you turn up today, you've got Harry here, your videographer, taking behind the scenes content.
Yeah.
Because people want to hear from people.
That's it.
You know, and so we love, getting founders on for the
Yeah, I love that.
Very powerful. So your advice is the number one thing is to get your product on social in those niches. And this is, these days I have this really strong belief that the days of these broad catalog type approaches to e-commerce are sort of a thing of the past.
Yeah.
You're better off finding a hyper niche like this.
Yeah.
And this is so good on so many levels because you've got a recurring product.
Yeah.
Every time something new comes out, the Lego nuts, go and buy them again.
Yeah.
It's tiny, so you can ship it all over the world. And I'm going to ask you about what your split is in a minute.
Yeah.
but you can sell to everywhere from a great e-com store rather than trying to be everywhere. And I really, and so you're saying get a great product and then go deep into those communities and niches and reach out. And if it is truly a great product, it's going to go viral anyway.
Even not in niche, like there's so many people that are now seeing me on socials or seeing my product and going, oh, wow, Lego's cool. And they're actually getting into Lego from seeing our product and what I'm doing with it.
I must admit, listening to you, I'm kind of like, feel like going to buy some Lego. Right
Yeah.
Have you?
It's true.
Have you approached Lego for affiliate yet?
Yeah. So
I approached you to buy it out.
Back in, when was it? Pre-COVID. So they contacted us. It was funny. We started seeing orders come from people at Lego. We're like, oh, this person, Lego AS Billund, and all like, that's interesting, or Lego Macquarie Park in Sydney. And so we knew that Lego were starting to catch on to what we were doing. But it was around 2017, 2018. Was it pre-COVID, they reached out to us and they basically said, hey, we want to find out more about what you guys are doing. And we started chatting and they actually flew out and came to visit us. And we spent a couple of days with them just going over what we do, the direction, and all that kind of thing. But basically, I can't disclose what happened from that, but all I can say is that they're very much aware of what we're doing and they're fully supportive of what we're doing. And I
was going to ask you that, like, because they could have gone two routes there and gone, yours, but the smart route is to be curious because you guys are ultimately super fans, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Of the product.
Yeah.
And you're advocating for the product.
That's it. Yeah. Like I said, people are actually buying Lego because they see what we've done and they want that end product.
Other people out there listening might have an idea that complements a Disney product or a different brand's product. For the audience, like, do you need to get their permission to use their name?
Yeah, so we got this all legally checked, and basically, as long as you have clear disclaimers saying that you are not a Lego product, or for in our case, we're not a Lego product, and Lego do not endorse us or not affiliated with us, then you're good.
Wow. It's good.
How much luck was involved with the launch of the TV show? Because I know that's been a big hit, and Hamish is on there.
Yeah.
Like every entrepreneur, I've met a few billionaires in my life, and nearly all of them have said, "Yeah, we worked really hard, but we also had some luck." Would you say that there was some luck, and did that help? And did you see it in your numbers, or not really?
No, it's funny. A lot of people assume that as well. They'll ask, "Oh, Lego Masters must be really good for you," but in actual fact, the people that are buying our product, it's hard to measure, but we didn't see like a spike because of Lego Masters or anything. We saw the spike
already there.
Yeah, our biggest spike and our biggest challenge was actually during COVID. So COVID was like the toughest time for us because there's like so many unknowns, all this shutdown, and I was like, I had just basically quit my job and gone into it. I'm like, holy shit, I've just done this, and now I have to potentially go back to my day job and all this kind of stuff. But we pushed through, we got through it. That biggest challenge actually became our biggest kind of like success. Like that was where because everyone was at home. Yeah. Like you started with Europe, then went to US, and then went to Australia, and we just started seeing massive spikes, and we couldn't even keep up with the amount of people that were, because they were at home, they were rediscovering Lego. They were then discovering like my bricks, and that's where we saw a massive boom.
So I just want to put the loop back before we miss it. So we sort of got sidetracked, but I just want to really pull on that thread. So your advice to a young person today who's got a product like this to launch on social, what exactly would you do?
I would basically create content, as much content as I can about, first of all, the problem perhaps of the problem that people might have without their product, and then their solution. But I would hone in on that message and go crazy and talk about that. And that's one piece of content. But
on Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, on the Instagrams, as much TikTok. Nowadays, you can create one piece of content and just like repurpose it on all your platforms. But then there's also talking about your story, talking about your passion, and talk more about why you're doing it in the first place, right? And then there's that, so that you've got plenty of content. And obviously a lot of people are like, I don't want to get on camera. They have like limiting beliefs, all that kind of thing. But obviously the more you do something, the better you become, right? So there's a lot of learnings along the way of that journey. But then the other thing is just basically get into analytics, like get into like, you start looking at numbers, and you have to look at that from an early, because there's no point how people say, "I'll just post every day." You can't just post every day without no kind of strategy behind it, because you're spending all this time creating content every day. But if you're not looking into the numbers and looking into like retention time, reach, all that kind of thing, you're never going to really grow. But when you start honing in on what works, what doesn't work, that's when you will see results. So it's not as simple as saying post every day. You got to get strategic. So, But my biggest thing is, yes, if you have a product out there or even a service, the best way to do it is through social media.
So your strategy that you use, rather than a shotgun approach, are you planning monthly, weekly?
In terms of social content?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, look, this whole kind of social media strategy, especially for myself and my own personal branding, that's very new. Like, we only started this probably September, October last year.
This is your account that's up there now.
No, that's Like My Bricks. So my account is Kenny B Like Water.
Yeah.
And that account is more, I guess, Like My Bricks through my lens, but also all my other things that I loved in life. Yeah.
If we look at Like My Bricks for a minute, this is a great Instagram account. How many followers are on there at the moment? 33,000.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful looking.
We probably would have had it more, because we faced the whole Facebook, Instagram banning and shutdown. We had to recreate our whole account.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. The thing with Meta is they don't tell you what you've done. They said that you've done something wrong,
Do
basically.
you think it was a breach of trademark?
I have no idea. To this day, we still don't know. So we had to start it from
incredible.
scratch.
It looks fantastic. And I think, again, I always say to people, if you've got a highly visual product, and this lends itself so brilliantly to visual, like it's really compelling content to look at.
So
these actors and actresses, I see that there's a lot of the same people. Are these
No,
employees?
these are all our guys. Yeah.
Employees.
So Geordie, who you see there, he actually was on the first season of Lego Masters. We've got a couple of guys who used to work, who have been on Lego Masters that have come in and out of Like My Bricks.
He looks like he's made for TV. He's got the hair, he's got the look, he's got that. He looks like a lot of fun as a guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, my biggest thing is all about, you've got the product, but why? You've got the brand, and that's really important as well. And our brand is all about genuine people who love Lego and are passionate about it.
You can see it. I can't hear the sound, but I can imagine.
I feel it.
And I feel like what I love about this Instagram account, and you guys should look at this at home, it connects you. I mean, he's selling lights.
Yeah.
But this is connecting me to you. When I can see your enthusiasm and your passion and the people and the business, and it makes me want to support you.
That's it.
It's really cool. And you look at all the lights, like it's not just the lights of the Legos here, it's the light of the room. Like you guys are in the lighting business.
That's it. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And I was going to say, like, a lot of, and this is the stuff that will set you apart from your competitors. You're always going to have competitors. If you don't have it now, you'll eventually get them, right? And stuff like this, and social media, and branding, and just the authenticity is what will set you apart.
Good luck. A Chinese manufacturer trying to compete with that.
That's it.
Yeah, they might be able to make the light, but they can't make that.
And all our competition is that.
Have you had a bunch of copycats?
Bro, yeah, I think we've had so many. Like, I don't want to go too hard into that, but I'll never forget that first time where because from the very start, I would always look out for I knew the competition was coming, right? So I'm always like online looking at Like My Bricks reviews or looking at hashtags or Lego lights. And it was probably about 2 or 3 years into the business where I stumbled upon another company. Like because I recognize my product images straight away because I did them all. It's all in my kind of kitchen with my own backdrop. And then I noticed a product image pop up, and it was for like AliExpress or something like that. And I'm like, that looks like mine, but I know it's not. And I click on it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is another company that are basically copying my images. And then I looked at their instructions, and their instructions was basically my instructions. They had basically scraped our site, looked at the product, and basically reversed engineered it. And a big part of our product and hard work is in the instructions, because you can imagine, like, every product you have to like do step by step photos, instructions of what to do. We're talking about like, hundreds and hundreds of photos just for one instruction guide. They had basically taken that and basically put it on their site.
Because you had it all online.
We had it all online. Wow. And I didn't know any about that stuff, about like watermarking and copyright protection. And then you go down the the path of getting stressed and spending all your time and effort with lawyers, spending money, taking them down, they'll take them down, and the next day it's on another side. Do you know what I mean? So we've basically, rather than focus all our energy onto taking them down, because there's not just one, there's like multiple now. They all do it, right? You go to AliExpress right now, type Lego lights, chances are you'll see my product images, my actual product images.
Someone else's.
Yeah.
High Smile actually run ads on the knockoffs of their toothpaste.
Yeah.
These are all the fake High Smile products they say, and this is them compared to ours. They actually demonstrate the
that is the best kind of cut through I reckon you can get. As
and it also positions you as the king of the jungle. But it's this here. This is the part that is so hard to replicate. Like that looks, it's an Instagram account. But I look at that and I go, there's a lot of work there in terms of the lighting, the coloring, the theming. The whole page is unified and there's beautiful thumbnails. You've done such a good job.
Yeah, thanks.
So so you're saying basically get into those niches, get into those communities, build your social following up, do some courses on social media and personal
and running
branding.
ads as well. Like that's
that's what I was going to do. How else? So what's your average order value on your website?
It's anywhere between, it's around $120 Australian dollars. It's around $120 to $150.
And are you running paid traffic? And what platforms are you using?
So Meta is the big one. Yeah. So all Google and Meta are the big ones.
So you're targeting people who are, liked Lego.
Or shown interest and all that kind of thing. Yeah. So we've got a few different campaigns. And again, this is something that I would also kind of advise people who are starting off is learn about like ads and like even if it's like reposting like a lot of content that you create, it might be a really good high performing content. You could be running ads on that. You know what I mean?
Simon Beard is a big advocate for that, of learning it yourself. He spoke about that at the summit, and I agree with him completely. And I've been guilty of just getting agencies. But I think understanding it yourself. So when you run it yourself, you're running your own Facebook traffic in-house or using an agency?
So we're doing all in-house now.
Yes.
But I was very similar to you. So we were using an agency for all this time, and the agency were good. They were doing a good job, but they give you like all the numbers in terms of ROAS and return on ad spend, and they're good numbers. They look good. They're like, we're giving you 10x, 12x. But when you actually look at how much money we are spending on ads, and how much money you're making, yes, it looks like 10x, but it's not that much given how much you're spending. And so, again, I went on that path as well, going, all right, I'm going to go and figure this shit out. I'm going to start doing courses and learning about ad spend. And then I actually took it all in-house, and I was doing it, right?
Can you talk about that? Like day one, you fired your agency, sitting there in front of the Facebook ads panel.
Yes.
How much did you start spending, and what was that journey like?
I am very much a risk taker. So I looked at my whole way of looking at it was, okay, let's say, for example, they're spending $100 and they're giving you $1,000, right? I was like, what if I spent $1,000 and made $2,000 for it? It's like 1 to 3. So I'm not getting 10x, but I'm getting more money. And then I started learning about the power of scaling your business through ads. And obviously, you got to do it carefully. You got to look at it on a daily level, on the profit you're making and your marketing expense ratio, all that kind of thing. But that's the journey that I took. So I was doing like a course on ads and looking at on a daily level, look at how much you're spending, and if it's working, put more money into it. So as things are working, you're scaling
what works.
Yeah.
Shalane D would say that on the pod. She goes, big part of my success is scale what works, kill what doesn't.
Yeah.
So you wake up and you set up your first ads, like you literally sent your first ads and programmed it and you're targeting, and then when go live.
Yeah, that's it.
And then you just kept an eye on it.
Yeah, so I didn't so much, I didn't like fire my agency on the get-go. Like I eased it in by going, hey, don't worry about these campaigns that you see here. I'm just playing around kind of thing. So I wanted to basically prove to myself that in a short amount of time, I can get better results, and I was able to do that.
So you basically, your strategy was to keep the paid ads. Okay, that's important for people listening.
Yeah.
So keep the paid traffic going.
Yeah.
On the side, do your own campaigns, and then you sort of compare yourself against the agency for performance.
And I'll see way better results from the stuff that I was doing.
How long did that transition take between?
Not long. It was probably like 3 weeks, probably, I would say.
And then by then you felt confident.
And then we went into what we call like a sale campaign. So we do like 3 campaigns a year, like big sales. Like you've got your Yeah, obviously the biggest one is your Black Friday ones. They're the biggest time. That's the time we actually do the best. And then we've got 2 others on. We've got May the 4th, which is like your Star Wars Day. But then we do one in the middle, in between, which is around August. And so in the past, we'd always do August, and sometimes they were good, sometimes they weren't good. They were probably the lowest performing for the year. But I had just gone through this, journey of learning about ads, and I went into this sale campaign, and this sale campaign ended up doing the best out of the set campaign before and the Black Friday before. That was purely just from me learning all this stuff on different campaigns, getting more creators in the mix, and then scaling.
So what is your ROAS now? Like if you spend $100 on Meta, what will you get in sales?
Look, an average ROAS for us now, evergreen, when I'm saying not scale campaign, is around 4. Right?
So for every $1,000 you spend, you get $4,000 in revenue.
But then when we have the sale campaigns, that's when it goes crazy. We're sometimes getting 12, we're getting 15, depending on where we are in the campaign. But that's our biggest time to scale is during these sales campaigns.
And that's where you get a lot, because a lot of e-commerce and retailers, for people who are not in the industry, they don't realize that although you're not making a lot of margin at those times, you're acquiring a lot of customers at those times, which is again why recurring products are so much better than selling a barbecue that they're going to buy once every 10 years.
Yeah, but something I didn't know, and I learned this when I started really, we can go into a little bit further, but basically I took this journey around that time where I was learning about ads, is going, all right, there's so much more that I need to learn. And I prior to that, I didn't have like a network of other entrepreneurs or mentors or coaches or anything like that. I never did that. I did everything quite organically. But then it got to a point where, you know how you feel pain in terms of cash flow, and that's what really kicks you in the ass and makes you want to get out there and learn. But then I started learning about like offers during these campaigns and how to, when you're discounting during these campaigns, you want to maintain margin, and you get that through AOV and like free gifts with purchases and all that kind of stuff. So I started learning the power of how to maintain a good AOV during these times.
That's really, really big, because I think we're about to start off Amazon ads or sort of Meta ads, and just trying to understand how to go about it is really, really an important question.
Yeah.
But when we used to sell land, we used to have our best success when we build up to a new land release.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to me that going into Facebook ads that I could use the same strategy.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really, really important point that you've highlighted, because most people just go out and try and get their ads working day after day, but you can actually gamify it and build it into an offer.
Yeah.
It's great.
And it's just getting crafty and strategic on what is that offer. And it doesn't always have to be 20% off, 30% off. It doesn't always have to be like that.
Sometimes it's you add.
Can you give us an example with your product, how you might add value without add value to the consumer so they feel like they're winning, but without sacrificing your margin? Just a practical example.
Are you talking about during a sale?
During a sale, yeah. Because so many people will be listening to this going, I hate sales because I lose money and it's all for nothing.
Yeah, no, it's for me, you get the sales, you lose money, but then you make up for that with, like I said, maintaining this AOV. So little things like gift with purchase, free gift with purchase. Everyone loves free shit, right?
AOV is average order value for people listening.
Yes.
So it's talking about getting a higher overall purchase value in the shopping cart during a sale.
Correct. Yeah. So
free gift with purchase.
So then they think about free gifts with purchase, and I'll use that as an example because a lot of times, and we're all guilty of it. Like we know it, and I do it as well. When you're buying something, you're like, oh, if I spend a little bit more, I get this free hat. Oh, that's kind of cool. That hat perceived value could be $30, $40. But to make it, it might only be $2 or $3. You know what I mean? So you're losing a little bit, but you're getting more in terms of your overall margin because they're spending more. So stuff like free gifts with purchases, having certain tiers, spend X amount, you get this. Spend X amount higher, you get this. And then you've got your mother kind of free gift. If you spend over, say, $300, you'll get the whole thing or something like that. So a big part of what we've done in the past is look at what are the cool products that people like that is like cheap to produce, basically.
Is that how you had your best sales period in August?
Yeah.
You cracked that average order value that you're going with?
Can I get you closer, Mark? Yeah.
You cracked that average order value that you were aiming for.
We maintained it, yeah.
based on the gift.
Yeah, that's it. So August we did it just to trial, because that was me just going, all right, I'm just going to try this. And we saw such good success from that we went into Black Friday last year, like all guns blazing. Like we had 3 different tiers of gift with purchases, and it went bananas. Like we didn't think we would sell out on all these free gift purchases within the first week of that sale campaign. We had to adapt and change it, and we had to look at different offers. But that sale campaign ended up, we did 10.8 mil in revenue for last year. Just that Black Friday, we did just shy of 5 mil just for that campaign.
Whoa. Wow.
So it was huge for us. And that was basically me taking all the learnings, getting the team on board, getting really strategic. And not just that, because it blew our minds in terms of how quickly we sold out of these free gift purchases. We had to adapt, and then we had to change up the offer. And quite a lot of the times when people have sale campaigns, it might go for, say, 2 weeks, right? It'll spike in the first 3-4 days, and then it'll just drop and just keep declining as the end of it. But then it's important that you look at messaging. And sometimes it is just as easy as messaging. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you don't necessarily have to put more products. It could be just crafting that message.
Of the 5 million from Black Friday, how much of that came from your email list, and how much of that came from paid traffic?
I think
new customers.
Yeah, so email traffic is one thing that I am not as familiar with, but I know that it is one of the biggest kind of drivers of income that comes into the business. I don't know the exact numbers. I just know that definitely our strategy for ads played a huge part in that.
Do you discount regularly throughout the year? So you just have these sales? Yeah, it's the same as MX.
Yeah.
We're not known for discounting.
Yeah. Whereas our competitors...
do a couple sales a year.
Our competitors have sales every day is an excuse for a sale, and it's like, that's just not us.
So I just want to pull on that thread again, though. Would it be just a ballpark? Would half of it roughly come from EDMs, or because collecting email is so important in e-commerce, and that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, 30-40%.
30-40% would be from EDMs, electronic direct mail.
Not dance music, no.
So that email list, and this again speaks to, I just want to isolate this for a second, because 5 million in revenue from one sale campaign, of which roughly half are new customers.
Yeah.
So that means that in this last Black Friday, half of that revenue came from all of the customers you've collected from 2016. Yep. And now in this $5 million period, you collect half of the revenue roughly came in for the first time off paid traffic.
That's it.
Which means next year you've got twice the size of the EDM.
Compounds.
And that's why every year we've just grown year on year, and each sale campaign gets bigger and bigger.
And now you're pumped about it, because you just literally doubled your EDM value, which is amazing. It's done.
It's so important to understand that, because then you run into the whole lifetime value of a customer. Yeah. Once you have that customer in your database.
I love all the data. I love getting into all that kind of stuff, because it's something that I wasn't so aware of 12 months ago.
And again, why... not to shit on Amazon, but why we advocate for Shopify. This is a Shopify store. I looked at the code before we went live.
Yeah.
So this is a Shopify store, but you got $2.5 million out of your list. I'm just saying ballpark.
Yeah.
You got $2.5 million in repeat business without having to pay for those customers. This year. In that one campaign.
And not just that, if you think about the journey of an adult getting back into Lego, they're not just buying one set. They'll buy the one set and they'll like, this is fucking cool, whatever it is. Then they're buying the next one that comes out. And Lego knows that. So they will always test the waters. They'll test the waters by doing this new kind of design. Take, for example, there's a botanical range that Lego do, that Lego flowers. They'll do a different one all the time. We're talking the bonsai tree, orchid plant, all that kind of things. And these, believe it or not, are massive sellers. The orchid is one of our best sellers. I had no idea. Do you know what I mean? And it's because I think we're seeing an increase of different audiences and people. Lego was once, I joke about, Lego was once something that the adults had to hide in their basements because their partner was like, nah, keep that shit downstairs, right? But now Lego is something that is acceptable in the living room now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You sell the best part.
in a jigsaw puzzle build, I know.
The cherry on top.
Yeah.
It's that last
Yeah.
piece. Like I so try to
That's
fuck with
it.
my wife by
Yeah.
hiding the last piece.
Yeah.
So she's like, where's that last piece? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they didn't
It's
ship
that
it. You know?
jigsaw puzzle.
But
yeah.
it's yours is like they finished it, and now it's like the aha, like the wow moment.
And not just that, like, take my experience with Lego is I got really into collecting these. They're called like modular buildings. It looks like a terrace house. You buy one, they release one every year. So you buy one, then you buy a second one. And the idea is you keep buying them, and then you're building like this street of all these terrace houses. And then you put lights in one, and it makes the others look like shit.
Oh, totally. Like you're screwed. You got to go now buy all the lighting kits off
That's
your
it.
house.
It's
Yeah.
like those Christmas movies.
Yeah.
When the neighbors are competing against
That's it. Yeah.
their lights.
Well, the Christmas range is crazy. Like people will just go crazy on Lego Christmas lights, and it's a thing that they bring out every year, and they set it all up. It's the same thing.
How much of your business is Australia, and how much of it is the rest of the world?
So Australia only makes up about. Hang on. So Australia makes about 30%. US is about 40, and then Europe, Canada, UK makes up the rest. Yeah. So US is actually our strongest market.
quick question back on the August sale. Did you have all that stock in hand? Like, were you prepared?
So
how did that go down?
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. We ran into stock issues too, because what it is I was learning that you have to have X amount value of stock, but it doesn't really work that way, especially in our case, because we got so many different SKUs, and certain SKUs will be way more popular than others. So we were finding like a lot of the popular SKUs they would run out of, and we were like scrambling in production to try and get more product out the door. But we do have warehouses around the world that ship to those regions of where the websites are. So we've got like a US based warehouse. We've got like a Europe one, a UK, Canada, and Australia.
So did you see, as your popular SKUs started to sell out, did you see conversion drop, or were people starting to buy the other?
Or did you take pre-orders?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Okay.
So I'm always like, if we can capture the sale, let them have it, because it's not like we're quite quick to the market in terms of our products. If something is sold out, if they can pre-order it, and they'll get it within 2-3 weeks.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So did you just take the money and then say, hey,
Yeah.
we'll have it?
We would have to set something on to say, all right, it's back order now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we're still able to capture sales.
And this just, sorry, Eric, I just want to, again, just close the loop on this inventory finance for the listeners, because this is a good example of where you need it. So coming in next year, you're probably going, okay, well, we know we did 5 million last year. We're now smarter, and we're going to do bigger.
Yeah.
So they might go to, I'm not saying you will, but you might go to National Australia Bank a month out and say, listen, we need to borrow $1 million for stock. NAB gives them $1 million, and they've got 6 months under their inventory finance product to repay it. And I assume the rate, we pay about 9.5% or 10% annualized.
Yep.
So you pay 5% over 6 months. So if you borrow $1 million, you're going to owe them $1,050,000. Which is 5% more in 6 months.
Yeah.
But you order that stock, sell that stock, and then you'll repay it in 3 months if you want.
So
That's how that works.
the trial finance is new to us. Up until then, we were all doing it ourselves, but now we're looking at projecting. So like we've got ambitious targets to like hit to basically double revenue this year, and to do that, we need X amount of stock, and that's why we've gone down the trade finance route.
And that's why National Australia Bank is the sponsor of our summit coming up on
okay.
October 19 and 20.
Yeah.
And their inventory finance people are going to be on site to talk to you if you want to talk to about this facility, because it's that is a massive unlock for e-commerce.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people aren't aware of it.
They're not aware, because it's not a front of house product for NAB.
I want to talk about logistics a little bit.
Yeah.
Can I assume that you pick, pack, and send out of Australia your own products, and then using a third-party logistics in other countries?
Yeah, so we changed the way we do things now. We used to pack everything in Australia. So we would import all the stock. They're all just little bits, like components, and we would like pack them according to what that kit required, and then would ship it out to the different warehouses, like your 3PLs. And then when the orders came through, they would ship it out. We've changed the way we've done things now, because the reason why we did that was we were doing things in-house was to control quality. But now we've actually set up camp with our suppliers in China, and they're actually doing everything there and then dispersing to the different warehouses now.
What's the experience like using a 3PL, third-party logistics company, versus yours? So for instance, if I was ordering, on your site today at say 11 a.m., when am I receiving my item? In Australia.
Oh, in Australia, it depends. If you get express, then it will ship the next day, and you'll get it the next day after.
Yeah.
But if it's standard,
What's the customer experience like from a 3PL perspective?
we try and keep that exactly the same.
Okay.
And that's the biggest thing for me. I mean, the whole customer experience has been the forefront of everything we've done, right? And I know as a customer, how much better is it when you order something and then within a couple of days it's on your, and then it's even more
about it.
Yeah. And it's even more impressive when it's from overseas.
Yes.
So I've always wanted that experience. So before we had the 3PLs, it was all about getting to the customer as soon as possible. So I was actually investing more in like DHL, that kind of thing, to get from Melbourne to say UK in 2 days, right? But then we would basically offload that cost to shipping prices to get kind of subsidized, that kind of thing, when the customer pays for it. But with 3PLs now, it's up and down. It's really hard to find a good 3PL. You know, you can go through shocker of 3PLs, or they could be really good at the start and then their service drops. So that's probably the only disadvantage with 3PLs. You can't control that level of service, and it's a bit of a nightmare. It can be. But luckily for us, we've experienced bad ones, we've experienced good ones. Right now, we have good ones who are like on the money. They're always kind of pumping out orders, and they're maintaining a level of service. So it has been positive.
Yeah.
So
And do you, I mean, I was, when Mark was asking the question, like, did you have the stock for that big sale, $5 million worth of stock over a couple of weeks? But then I think to myself, like, this product is so small, it's so light, there'd be such good margin. You could just air freight this stuff whenever you want.
Oh,
Right? Like,
everything. So
not
for
like-
us, it's all express air. Like we don't even do it anymore, but we never get anything via sea.
see that.
No.
And this is,
Yeah.
like, for us, we own a MX store, which is a large motocross online e-com store. And we've got, I mean, you can imagine the parts
Yeah.
and the size of, we're bringing in exhausts. Like, we can't just air freight, pallets of exhausts and try and sell them at a margin. Whereas when people are thinking about business, like this business is right up our alley, right, Adam? And what we've been discussing on, like, it ticks this box, ticks multiple boxes, excuse me. And one of them is, it's so light.
Yeah.
And so
They're all like
small.
literally little 500-gram satchels.
Yeah, like you look at, I know we've
business.
and we've mentioned, ice baths and stuff in the past. It's like, oh shit, we need an extra 1,000 ice baths. Let's just air freight these things. Like, it ain't happening, And this is what people need to really think about in their business. And I was telling Adam prior to this, is people need to take time to think about what business they want to go into.
Yep.
Right, rather than go, all right, I've got an idea, let's start. Take time, weeks,
you gotta think it all out.
months, even if it takes you a year to come up with this idea, Yeah. And to me, like, what you've created here is unbelievable.
Yeah, thanks.
And
It is incredible.
hand on heart, when you're saying, to double revenue, and US is your biggest playground, and you understanding ads, you'll be able to double revenue.
Oh, we're on track. We've had a good first half of the year so far, and we're on track. And it's pretty exciting to see the possibilities.
Do you think you will double the revenue from where you are?
I know it will double.
Like a $20 million business.
I love it.
I know it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
$20 million business out of Australia selling
Lego lights. Who would have thought?
He's in control of the button. That's why, the ads and things like that.
That's what I was saying at the start. This is what I keep saying to, especially young people today. The new world is sell to the world with a niche, rather than Eric's done well, but he started 15 years ago. So Eric's business is about 100 million a year, 170 employees, and when you go to the head office, it's huge.
And it's Australia though. Like
just Australia.
98% of our sales.
How many SKUs do you have? Like
Close to 100,000.
Close to 100,000 SKUs.
A lot of.
That's a totally different beast.
Yeah.
Just on your point, Eric, just about the small and light, and we tell young entrepreneurs to make sure the product ticks all the boxes. When in history have we had the opportunity to learn these nuggets on a podcast? Like most times, like even I make the same mistakes. You got to learn through experience. You got to learn through hard knocks. Yeah. Whereas that's why these podcasts are so important to watch the whole thing from start to finish, because there's one nugget on every podcast that I've been on that I'm like, wow. That one nugget.
I would have paid anything to sit down with a guy like you, Kenny. Back in the day, honestly, I mean, you would have been the same.
Yeah,
for sure. To sit and listen to a dude doing $1 million a month and going to double that to $2 million a month in Australia.
Yep.
That's like the It never happens.
That's what I love about that's what I love about podcasts. You know, 12 months ago, I wasn't listening to any of this stuff. And nowadays, like, sometimes all it takes is like 5 seconds or 10 seconds of a long pod. You get that 10 seconds and it just changes the way you think. It gives you an idea. It inspires you. That's what I love.
I'm sitting with Eric right now, and I know, because we're about to launch a consumer product, and the stuff you've told us today that's going to be worth millions.
Yes.
You know what I love is the confidence you have. Like, again, earlier you mentioned about these copycats. They won't go away.
No,
they'll just keep coming. So instead of going and spending, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers thinking that you're going to be a Chinese manufacturer in China, right? It's not going to work. Just keep doing what you're doing.
That's it.
Keep concentrating on what you're amazing at, which is the content, which is the product, as an example, and just keep going. And you'll beat them in the end. Eventually, people are going to know, right? And those aren't your target. The people that are buying those aren't your target market.
That's why I say people who want to buy cheap shit will always buy cheap shit.
Correct.
No, that's what I got.
That's again where personal brand comes in.
That's it.
Because like, you are a super fan of Lego. And there's no denying that.
Yeah.
So I want to buy from that guy. I want to buy from Kenny.
How many employees do you have?
We have about 32 now.
Out of the 32, who froth Lego?
Most of us do. So like, especially our design team are like super into it. Like, design team is they're the ones who actually get into build the set, design, and do the lighting.
The reason why I ask is with motocross and what we do, and now fight, which is all mixed martial arts. The people that work in fight love mixed martial arts. The people that work at MX, majority froth and love motocross.
Have you had people that are not so much and they come into the business and then they actually get really into it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We had that too.
The thing is, that's another tick. Like, the product that we're launching isn't, I don't think it's going to be that type of product where people are going to be like, oh yes, I love working in this. Right? But that's a tick again, right? So when people are thinking about hiring people, because people are everything in business, you've got a tick again going, it's easy for me to hire because I get these people that are just raving fans of Lego that are going to come and just bring so much energy into the business. Not only are they going to pick and pack, but they love what they're picking and packing. It's just because they know that some kid or some adult this is going to, and they have a true passion for it. I love that.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
How many you created a checklist recently, or a detailed document about what makes a great product. How many points did you have on that?
14.
Yeah, it would be great. I mean, I don't know, but as a segment, to go through all the guests' products that we have,
goes through so many of them.
and do it and do a score, just so the audience can see. Okay, this guy's made $100 million, but it only ticks 7 boxes.
Yeah.
How did he?
I'd love to see that.
I'll show you. We're taking our coaching clients through it at the moment. And last night we revealed to our coaching clients our new product, and they all just going, "Oh my God!" Like, they were just like, I just wish I thought this way earlier. Because it's through observing guys like you. Like, I looked at your website a few months ago when I first reached out, and I was like, this guy's got a great business. And it was part of forming my checklist.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it was things like size of the shipping, moat around your business. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I'll show you afterwards. But it does tick so many of them. And recurring is a massive one, because one of the big things about recurring, I showed with our product, it's a product that people will buy every month. And I showed, like, if we do 200 sales a month and we compound it at adding new customers each month, it makes X. Let's say $10 million a year. And that's with 30% of our customers buying it each month. Right? And we know from talks with other people in that space that that's actually low, and the average is over 50, so we round about to 30. So let's say it's 10 million a month. In 2 years' time, it's 10 million a year in 2 years' time. If you change just one metric in that picture, which is the recurring piece, you turn that to 0, the same business with the same growth, but without the recurring, is doing 860 grand. So it's 10 times bigger. And not only that, the multiple, if you sell it, is double, triple, quadruple as well. And so that's why with Like My Bricks, you've got another one, which is you're riding on the back of a mega trend, which is Lego. And Lego's boomed, and once people buy Lego and use your product one time, I reckon a vast majority of people are going to go, I'm going to get a Light My Bricks every time.
Yeah. And it's crazy because we were privy to some statistics that Lego provided to us, and now they do a lot of data collection, of course, and one of it was the amount of people that are actually aware that there are lighting possibilities. In terms of if you were to survey all Lego adult consumers, the amount of them that are actually aware of lighting possibilities is in the like less than 10% basically.
Wow.
So we could, you know what I mean? That's, to me, it's like there's just a crazy amount of opportunity there.
Enormous.
Yeah.
You're on the back of a very smart company. Like, I don't know if people, you know this, I'm sure, but Lego is a case study at universities.
Yeah.
It was a new CEO or something came in.
They almost went bankrupt, They
almost went bankrupt. A guy or girl came in and revolutionized the company.
Yep.
And it's such an iconic brand.
Yeah. It's funny because I shared a piece the other day about a fun fact. So Lego Star Wars is huge, right? But Lego, they actually said no to collaborate with Star Wars initially because they were against the whole they were like, big on anti-violence and all that kind of thing in Star Wars. So they actually rejected it. But it was a guy called Peter Eo who was I think he was, I don't know if he was the CEO or not, but he was head of Lego. He basically fought away and he presented it like it's a fantasy stuff between good and evil, and he took that spin rather than the violence spin. That's actually what got it over the line. But if it wasn't for him, I don't know, I say this whole joke saying, like, he basically saved it too. Do you know what I mean? With the whole Lego Star Wars. And not just that, if Lego Star Wars wasn't a thing, like, I probably wouldn't have gotten into Lego as an adult. You know what I mean?
Star Wars is a metaphor for everyday life.
That's it.
Just an extreme metaphor.
Yeah.
You're 32 employees. You currently have 32 employees, right? So when you hit the 10.8, 10.9, call it $11 million, 32 employees.
Yeah.
Now you're going to double your business.
Yep.
How many employees are you going to have to put on to cope with that growth?
I think I've always been a believer in you need to spend money to make money, but I don't necessarily think that in order to get to that mark, we need to essentially double the amount of people. I think it's how I've always done how I've always done business up until say 6-12 months ago. It's just like, all right, we need a person, let's put that person on. I think for us it's all about getting over the line, like putting targets in place and making sure that we have enough resources to get there. But a big part of it is actually measuring how efficient we are in working. You know what I mean? That law of diminishing returns, you don't want that. So for us, in order to double, we've been hiring a lot of people in this.
So how many people? There's a reason why I'm asking this question.
Yeah.
So, do you think you'd go to 40 people?
32, potentially. I know that we're hiring people at the moment. We're hiring designers. I'll probably say another 5 to get there.
So 32 employees at 11 million. To get to say 20 million, you hire another 5 people.
Yep.
Same warehouse, same factory.
Yep.
Right. And this is where the economies of scale go through the roof because 100% of those costs are involved in the 11 million.
Yep.
Right. You're going to be increasing those costs now by a fraction.
Yeah.
And you're gaining another 11 million in revenue.
Yep.
And that's where in business, this whole, I'm a believer is you need to either stay small.
Yeah.
Or go big.
Depends what
because this middle level, right, is to me it's very dangerous of just sticking around here unless you're growing. Yeah. And that's what we've done in our businesses, right? Like we know right now, based on our resource that we have, what revenue we can get to without spending more money. And that just adds straight to the bottom line. And understanding the numbers in your business is so important. We spent about 5 hours 3 weeks ago going over one spreadsheet in each domain. Yeah. And there's basically 4 to 5 levers, right? That we can actually fully control in each domain. Yeah. And it's amazing when you start plugging in, okay, we can shrink this amount, we can increase this. What does that do to this? And it's astronomical.
Yeah. And that's where your quarterly.
Yeah. So I would love to see your P&L when you hit that 20 million compared to the P&L when you're at 10.
Yeah, I think a big thing for us is revenue is one thing, but profitability is the whole other ball game, right? So up until, again, 6-12 months ago, it was all about, revenue. But when you look at the profit, it's like, where is all the actual money? You know what I mean? And that's where it's changed the game for me, because it's like, okay, if we want to be maintaining if we want to sustain this business, we have to hit a certain benchmark in terms of profitability.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about now.
The profit first model is really, really good for that. I know James has spoken about that on a previous podcast. I've just implemented it in my business because we've had, we made some mistakes with ad agencies and things like that, and the profit has decreased. And we're now implementing that profit first model where we take the profit and the owner's contribution first, and then we have to reverse engineer the growth with what's left over.
Yeah.
And that encourages you to seek things like trade finance. That encourages you to do things smarter, back orders, whatever it might be.
Help, like you said. Coaching is a function of getting your ass kicked and paying ignorance tax instead of coaching. Yeah. And I know you've been a huge, I think you're a client of Dave Fogarty's. You've joined these communities and they're all great, right? You know, like pretty much they're all great. And
Daily Mental?
So that's David Fogarty's one.
Yeah, and so getting around these types of communities is really good. You know? And you learn something from
you learn
them.
so much.
I join at least one a year. I get to all the seminars I can when they're on. And I'm not trying to just promote our summit here. We do the summit. It's not going to be a hugely profitable exercise for us. But it just does two things. A, it reminds you you're not the only unemployable crazy person in the world. And number two, you learn from best in class people like yourself.
And the best way to learn.
Walk away with one thing from each talk and you implement. You cannot not make back the investment. If you're really in business, like this one podcast, I would have paid $1,000 to sit here for an hour with you and learn some of the stuff I've learned. Because I've got a real business, I'm going to implement it too.
And that's what I love as well. I love the fact that people are actually getting something out of this as well. And that other people are like, I would have paid, like, I wish that I was on this train of listening podcasts or going to, summits and all that kind of thing 5-10 years ago. Imagine what I could have accomplished now. I mean, I don't want to dwell on that, but what I'm saying is there's no better time to get into shit until, and it's now. You know what I mean? Don't fluff around. Don't be like, I'll wait till the next one. You know what I mean? Like so many people put it off and procrastinate.
I'll give you the contrary argument to that, right? Like a lot of people at home would sit and watch podcasts and then get analysis paralysis and then don't do anything because they've got 46,000 ideas. Like you to get to 10 million, you obviously put your head down and you focused on the prize. And so it wouldn't be too hard on yourself there, man.
No.
I got a couple more questions. Out of the amount of products Lego actually makes that can take one of your products. So if you said that was $1 million, right? What's a percentage of what you actually have available? So the amount of growth that you can actually achieve.
Well, here's the thing: there's you could light anything, you could light any Lego model, but it's more, what do we think will sell well as a product? What and our core consumer is that. I think our core consumer audience is anywhere between 30 to 45 years old, right? They're the ones who we want to target. They're the ones who are spending the money. They're not going to necessarily buy every Lego set to light up. And so quite often we've found that when you're designing products, or we choose which products to design, sometimes it actually costs us more to design something, but it doesn't sell well. So a big part of that is like learning from previous data on what will sell well. But basically it's anything that is, I call it in the adult range, in this adult 18 plus range, that for one has the opportunity to light up. For example, it's hard for certain like botanical, like a tree or something, it's hard to put many lights in that. We can put spotlights and do it artistically, but then there's other models that are just like, you have to have lights in that thing. Like the DeLorean, it's like, you can't not light that. Do you know what I mean?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So like Lego obviously have a massive, let's say they put out 1 million SKUs a year. I reckon would be hitting more than half of that. Because a lot, probably the other half is probably like more centered towards like the Duplo, your kids range, the smaller sets that aren't light worthy.
What was your very first?
As an adult?
No, what was the very first one that you went
Lit
live
up?
with? Yeah.
It was one of those modular buildings. It was they call it a detective's office. It had like a barber sign, had the lamppost, it had like a pool sign. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you can just imagine that at night, like everything will be lit up. Do you know what I mean? There's so many opportunities. Then there's like in these buildings, that's why I love them, because like there's like a Palace Cinema and there's like, you imagine like a marquee all lit up. There's just so many opportunities. Basically, anytime you see a Lego set with like a trans parent colored piece, that's an opportunity to light.
Yeah. And there's a saying, right? Like start with the end in mind. And I call it the 2 E's for me in business, and setting expectations and then having an exit.
Yeah.
Do you think Lego will buy your business at one point?
I don't look. That's definitely an opportunity. It's definitely something that could happen. But I think where I was in the first, say, 5-6 years of the business was all about I need to get Lego's attention. I need to like Legos to get Lego's attention. My mindset has completely changed because I've realized the capabilities and the opportunities that we could get from this product and the potential that we could do as a business that I don't really care. And I'm all about basically making such a disruption into the Lego industry to a point where people want to buy Lego to get our product. So we're shifting from being a secondary product to a primary, to a point where Lego is like, these guys are literally changing the way everybody sees Lego. Yeah. And that's what drives me and that's what fuels me.
And that's why the founder is so important, because your passion, not your product, your passion has done that for me today. It's made me want to go out there and buy a Lego set with lights.
Yeah. It was a crazy moment when we were thinking about that because, like I said, we've always bought Lego and put lights in it and taught people how to put lights in it after the Lego set is built, right? Because a lot of times people have it on their shelf, but then we're like, what if we were to reverse it and actually come in earlier and give people a build and light experience? So rather than just building Lego and having fun with it, it's not as good as building as you go. Lighting and building at the same time, so that you're actually getting the best building experience, not just a Lego building experience, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I got two final questions for you. Number one, are there any other clanger stories that we have missed, like the fact you did $5 million in 1 week?
One day.
Is there anything else like sleeping in the Kenny files that
that's a great question.
That people would go, holy shit, really? Like, and it can be anything. Like, it could be a famous celebrity that bought your thing, or it could be this weird thing that happened. Like, is there anything like amazing?
The time that Kim Kardashian lit up her Cybertruck Lego with your lights.
We haven't had too many celebrities kind of like, I'm always curious to see who's following and all that kind of thing. So we haven't had we've had like celebrities, but not like.
Or just moments, as in like where you went, holy shit, we just did $5 million in one sale campaign. But
I mean, that was the biggest kind of, I guess, win up until now, that kind of Black Friday. But it's not just the win, it's more just the thought for me is imagine what we could do next Black Friday. Now that we know all this stuff, imagine what we could do next sale or next year. So we're on track to hit our goal this year, but it's like once we hit it, it's like, it's just, I go back to like my goals list and it's like, it's always kind of like increasing because you just realize the potential. You're always pushing the limits higher.
How does your wife feel about your Lego addiction now?
Yeah, she can't say anything now. You know what I mean?
You win.
I win. That's it. Yeah. How to win the argument with the wife. That book's coming out soon.
Just to put that into perspective, $5 million in a week.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks. Yeah. That's
at
an average
1 week.
At an average order value of 120.
Yeah.
Right, I'm being conservative.
Yeah.
It's over 41,000 sales.
Yeah.
Actual orders.
That's what we did last year.
Damn, son.
Like your calculations there.
I love these numbers because it's like, 5 million, but it's actually
this is his
41,000 orders that somebody literally had to go. Okay, pick it, pack it. 41,000. Times.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of stuff to go.
That's a leverage, man. Like that's like I'm 50 and I grew up delivering newspapers and I could make money as far as my legs would take me.
Yeah.
To think that you could be sitting in Melbourne, this tattooed dude, like, who's into
playing with Lego,
and make 41,000 sales in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I just would have just got that. That's just mind blowing. And if you're a young person listening to this and you're still sitting there acting like the world's not a great place, wake up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm big on, right? I'm big on like I've created a way for me to have this ultimate life, right? Through just passion. That's all it is.
That's incredible.
And it's basically saying, a bit of this to the people who have.
Those were two fingers in the air.
Yeah, two birds. Basically saying like, don't worry about what your idea might be. Do you know what I mean? It's like society will always say, oh, that's risky, or that's not grow up, or that's not responsible, especially if you have a young family. And, the time is now, you know what I mean? Like you have to basically identify that you are in this box and then know how to break out of it. That's a
podcast or another podcast on this topic.
And one of the best things is your wife can never complain about it ever again.
Oh, God. Be careful, because Kenny might not make it back after this. That was Kenny. Yeah. We appreciate him. We
haven't seen him in a while.
No more podcast.
Yeah, Kenny's gone missing.
June 4, May 2000. Let's see when the book books come. So last question. Is there anything else that you are doing that you're crushing in strategically? So we've got paid ads, we've got social media, you're obviously doing EDMs. Is there any other business strategy that has crushed it for you guys that we want to know about?
We spent the last 4 or 5 years completely redeveloping our product. So our product, if you look at it right now, it looks quite circuitry. It looks like raw electronic components. We spent the last 4 or 5 years redeveloping it and making it from what I call it looks like an inside of a computer to an Apple product. We're just about to launch that. And so everything we're doing about like staying ahead, branding, that's all really good, and the product doesn't matter as much, but in this case, the product being 10 times better will completely back it, and it will allow for us to basically create like a better experience. This whole ultimate building experience is all come from this product development.
Been your big project is actual R&D into the product itself.
Yeah, that's it.
And the last one is, what has been your journey with the website itself in terms of CRO, conversion rate optimization? Have you paid much attention to that?
Yeah, we have. And that's why the stuff that you saw at the moment, I guess 3 months ago, if you went to our website, it would have been like smack bang product right there, price, all that kind of stuff. And look, our product is not cheap, right? And a lot of people go straight to, rip off, expensive, all that kind of stuff. We've had to change that and make and more journey with the customer in terms of their thought process, and rather than hit them with the product straight away, you hit them with what they're thinking about. That's why if you look at it, it's like a lot of people, when they think about lighting, they're anxious because they spent so much money on Lego, all this time that they're like, they have all these questions in their mind going, do I have to like completely rebuild it? Or how much do I have to take apart? Or how hard is it? Or I don't have any electronics experience. They want it. They want that end product, but they have all these kind of thought processes. So for us, it's all about journeying with them. So that has seen a good increase in CRO after doing that. It's like having good landing pages, basically.
So sitting down and really thinking about, I'm a customer who's just arrived at Light My Bricks for the first time.
Yeah.
Instead of going product, price, add to cart.
Yeah.
You're now speaking to where their brain is when they arrive.
It's a story. It's like a journey that you have to like journey with them. And once you're there with them, the reader will be like, okay, yes, that's right. I agree with that. And that's when you then say, with us, with Like My Bricks, you can achieve this. With that, you're not going to achieve this. It's that kind of journey. So a big part of us is always looking at optimizing the site and making it better. But with the launch of the new product that we're going to launch in a couple of weeks, actually, we've got a whole new website plan and all that kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So guys, go to lightmybricks.com.au, follow them on social media, and follow Kenny on social media too. What's your social media?
At Kenny B Like Water.
At Kenny B Like Water.
It's a Bruce Lee reference.
Yeah,
yeah, you got it. Yeah.
You got a question?
No. I was going to make another Bruce Lee reference.
Well, the whole Bruce Lee stuff is more just about, adapting, breaking out of boxes, all that kind of stuff. So that's been a huge thing for me.
I love the one from the one from Enter the Dragon. Don't follow the finger.
Yeah, that's huge. That's like, if you break it down, it's all about like being present in the moment and don't concentrate. Us entrepreneurs, we're always like chasing that one thing. Sometimes it's really good just to take a step back and just be grateful of what you have and
love that.
Don't miss that moment.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Kenny, that's been absolutely awesome. Loved having you on. Harry, loved having you over there and right over in the corner. A couple things I want to mention right here at the end. If you want to get your hands on that 14-point checklist, I'm going to make an offer to you right now. As you guys know, for the last 7 years, I've been involved with the John Fawcett Foundation in Bali in Indonesia. We've done thousands and thousands of surgeries up there for the blind. We just came back a few weeks ago. We did 290 surgeries in 1 week. And we have one campaign left for the year, which is happening in July 1st. Now, a lot of people can't actually get to Bali and they want to go, but they can't take the time. And to be on that tour and in the bus and do it with us is $2,000 donation. But then you get to go there and you get to hang out with us. You go to the village and you get to see it. If you make $1,000 donation to the John Forster Foundation, you can DM me and I'll tell you how to do it. Just go to Adam Hudson Official on Instagram, DM me. I will give you the recording. I did a full one-day training in Bali when I was there a few weeks ago. I had it professionally recorded. I spent a whole day on this 14-point blueprint of how to find a perfect product like Kenny's. And I actually showed how to generate the ideas as well as go through the blueprint. I will give you the recording and I'm going to do a 1 to 2 hour Zoom with anybody who makes that, a group Zoom with anybody who makes that donation to ask any questions as a group so we can workshop any ideas that you have against the 14-point blueprint. So if you make the donation, I'll give you the recording on one condition. And that condition is this: you do not share it, because in there, we reveal the new product that Eric and myself and my other business partner in the project are going to be launching in a few months' time. Now, you'll all get to see it when it goes live, but it's not quite ready to be released to the public just yet. So you're going to actually see that, and I take you through that product in detail from sourcing to ideation, and I actually show you our numbers and our financials, what we invested, how we're going to grow it, the whole thing. The people who are in the room absolutely loved the event. So anyway, hit me up in the DMs. I can send you a little video about the event, see what you're actually going to get. And for the $1,000, I'll give you the full training, the recordings, the spreadsheets, everything that we gave for people in the room for half the price. We make no money from it, but we get to heal another 300 blind people if we can raise 50 grand in total. So it's work I'm passionate about, changes lives, and it's a good reminder of how blessed we are to live in this wonderful, wonderful country. And the last thing I want to mention is October 19-20. Go to unemployable.com.au/events, put in your name and email so that you can come and hang out with us live for 2 days at the Brisbane Convention Exhibition Centre. People like Kenny, we may even get Kenny here, who knows, you know. Would you speak at the summit if we gave you a spot?
Hell yeah, I would. I'd love to.
We'd love to have you there because I really think you'd be great. So it's official. Kenny's a speaker now.
Yeah, all right, let's do it.
You'd honestly light it up, wouldn't you?
I would. I'll bring all the lights. Yeah, and especially when they announce my name, it's like bang, all the lights come on.
All of the lights. Fantastic. Kenny, thank you for coming. No worries. We really appreciate it. And for all of you entrepreneurs listening out there, this is what it's all about, you know, starting with 10 grand, scaling to $1 million a month, soon to be 2 million a month, rocking it from Australia, smashing it overseas, 70% of your revenues from not even in this country, and he's doing it all in a black t-shirt with tattoos and a rock star of a dude. So thank you for coming on, man. Guys, we'll see you on the next episode of Unemployable. Thank you for the support. Drop a comment, hit the like button. Let Kenny know that he's a rock star. What did you learn from Kenny today? Let us know in the comments and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Unemployable. If you'd like to watch another episode, just click there.